Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic. It is Monday, so we're talking about movies, but you're in for a treat this week because Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the theme of all these videos will be Marvel. So stay tuned. So today we're covering movies, but we're talking about specifically Doctor Strange. If you know nothing about Doctor Strange, this video is going to outline who that is, some of the casting we know already, and what we might be able to expect from a movie like this. So we have Benedict Cumberbatch as Dr. Stephen Strange. He's a neurosurgeon that is very arrogant, knows everything, the best there is. But he's in a car accident and it messes up his hands, which are very important for a neurosurgeon. So he finds out about someone in Tibet that might be able to help him, someone called the Ancient One. So he travels and kind of begins this training to either learn to use his hands or to cure the damage that was done. So he goes there to serve under the Ancient One, but there's also another apprentice named Baron Mordo, who's also kind of training to learn these mystical arts. And the two of them have kind of this rivalry because Baron Mordo is very jealous, wants to be the best, and sees Doctor Strange as competition. So the Ancient One we have being played by Tilda Swinton, which is a little controversial because the Ancient One was an older man in the comics. So some people are very upset, but I have trust in Marvel. I think this could be really cool, played by something completely against type. We also have Baron Mordo being played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, kind of known for his work in 12 Years a Slave, alongside Benedict Cumberbatch, so a little reunion. So we have some casting there for kind of that main trio of characters. So during this training, the Ancient One teaches them how to conjure spells and open rifts in other dimensions and use amulets that are super magical. And eventually he's training someone to replace him as something called the Sorcerer Supreme. What is the Sorcerer Supreme, you might be asking? That is the title of the person designated to basically protect our world, and maybe potentially worlds, from other dimensions and demons and kind of threats that the world never sees. But the Sorcerer Supreme is the one that has the tact and the skills and the knowledge to stop these things from happening. And I wish it was easier to explain what Doctor Strange could do, but as you can see right now, this is the wiki page for his powers, and it is just immense. Imagine anything he wanted to do, he could find out how to do, find an artifact that does it, or find someone else that knows how to do it, right? He has access to everything. So I'm not going to go through the basics of what he can do because he can do basically anything. And when I talk about artifacts he can use, there's a couple really popular ones that he uses, such as the Cloak of Levitation, which he kind of like uses to meditate and think about things, and kind of he just floats around. There's something called the Eye of Agamotto, which is something he wears as like a necklace thing, and it allows him to see through lies and deception, and so he can kind of tell if people are lying. He sees the truth of things. So other than the jealous apprentice Baron Mordo, what other sort of villains might Doctor Strange face? The first one is a villain, he's kind of a demon called Nightmare. And he basically takes over people's minds while they're asleep and puts them into this prison of their nightmares. Okay, so he flourishes there. He has no means of hurting anyone that is awake, but no one can stay awake forever. So he kind of captures people there and tortures them and gets what he wants from them while they're asleep. Another demon that Doctor Strange often faces is a big, demonic, tentacle-looking thing called Shuma Gorath, or Gorath. I never know how to pronounce some of these things because I just read the words. And this demon kind of arrives and eats like anything, entire planets, just destroys everything. And he is as big as he is powerful. So in his home dimension, he is like Galactus, right? He's gigantic. He's a huge planet-sized monster. Where here, maybe he has less power, so he's a little easier to handle. He's never really killed, but the best they can do is trap, relocate, or distract, basically. So they have to find a way to somehow get rid of him, move him, capture him, and that's really the best that they can do. So we might see something like that, some big climax at the end of the movie where Doctor Strange, has to use these powers that he's gained to stop some sort of world-ending threat like Shuma Gorath. Lastly, we have a demon called Dormammu, and this guy is mega powerful. And he is basically Doctor Strange's kind of biggest rival, and I think they might save him for future movies. But if he shows up here, or if they tease his existence here, that's probably likely. So basically, his intention is to destroy the Earth and kill the Sorcerer Supreme, whoever it is. Right? He wants to kill that protector so he has free reign to do whatever he wants. And when I say he's powerful, imagine this. Odin, Thor's father, considers Dormammu his equal. But Dormammu considers Odin his inferior. Right? How badass is that? He's made of energy, okay? And he is more powerful than any single Sorcerer Supreme. And he's defeated people that are host to the Phoenix Force. So Phoenix, like from the X-Men, he's defeated them one-on-one, which is saying quite a lot. I'd like to think that Dormammu will be like Thanos in this scenario, that they might have a couple movies, or maybe he'll be the villain at the end of Phase 4. You know, they'll kind of build up to this big epic fight with Dormammu, with maybe Baron Mordo and Nightmare and Shuma Gorath being pawns that he's using into this end goal. I think that he'll probably be something like that as opposed to being the main villain in Doctor Strange. The only other casting we have at this point is Rachel McAdams from Mean Girls, The Notebook, True Detective. We don't know who she's playing, but it'll either be probably like a love interest, or there are some powerful women wizards, kind of like magic users in this world that she could potentially be playing. So we're not really sure. We don't have a name yet. By the time you're watching this, we might. But right now when I'm making this video, we have no idea. We also have a director for the film, and this is Scott Derrickson, who's known for Deliver Us from Evil, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, Sinister. So he does a lot of horror movies. So that can tell us a little bit about the tone that they might be going for. That this is going to be dark, might be a little scary or creepy. His skill set is definitely different than the other directors that they've brought in. So I think we're going to see something a little twisted, a little scary, a little unsettling from this movie. And that is perfect because when these demons and things are coming into our dimension, it should be unsettling. It shouldn't be a lighthearted romp. This should be something serious. And I think we're going to get that with Scott Derrickson. So that's the basics. Kind of who we have in the movie, some casting, who Doctor Strange is, and some things we might see, like some villains and plot lines. So again, this is really early. We still have a handful of movies to come out before we even see Doctor Strange, anything from it. But that's it. Hopefully this was interesting. What do you want to see from Doctor Strange? Do you want to see one of these villains? Do you want to see a villain I didn't talk about? Do you think this is going to be cool? Do you like Doctor Strange? So let me know in the comments. Let's have a discussion. And thanks for watching. I'm your target demographic, and we'll see you next time.